Nothing galls me more as a human being, not just a gamer, than when we get promised something and that doesn't come to fruition. And this really, really bugs me. And I know maybe it shouldn't bug me as much as it does, but when you see this kind of thing happen, I just can't help it. It just really just kind of bothers me. And I hope that, and I guess people will probably be pretty understanding about it, but at the same time, it's like, why say something if that's not going to be how it's going to be? You understand what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. So yeah, this is a little bit of one of those things where, yeah, I'm a little bit pissed off. I don't understand the rigmarole behind damage controlling it and stuff like that. So let's go ahead and get started. What's up, everybody? Crapgamer here with Crapgamer Reviews with another video. Thank you so much for checking it out. I really do appreciate it. Thank you guys very much for checking out the videos. All I ask is that you like the video. That would be pretty indicative of just hitting that button. It's pretty simple, really. So anyway, what we were promised with Xbox Game Pass is that it's sort of like Netflix, and that the originals don't ever leave the service. Now, we've seen some instances where it was maybe rumored that something, I'm pretty sure maybe Scream Ride left. I didn't really look into that, but that's a game that's an exclusive, and that had left before. And obviously third-party games can leave pretty much at any time, but this was a little bit one of those weird situations where we're kind of looking at it, and I see Forza Motorsport 7 is going to be pulled from sale, and actually Game Pass as well. Now, what's interesting here is that not hardly anybody's talking about it. So you just kind of have to question some of the people that are kind of going to bat for Xbox all the time. So Forza Motorsport 7 is going back into the garage in the coming weeks, giving backwards compatibility and storefronts. It's rare for a game to simply go away these days, but that's exactly what's happening in the Forza Motorsport 7. Now, what's interesting here, folks, is that Phil Spencer has just gone on and on about game preservation and saving games, and how they want to be able to play all these different versions of the games on one piece of hardware and that kind of thing. And then you have this situation, and I understand with a racing game or whatever, but I can remember when Drive Club was delisted, Xbox fans made pretty big stink about that. So I think that it's just like, keep that same energy type of situation. But that's exactly what's happening with Forza Motorsport 7, which will reach its quote-unquote end-of-life status in September. This is likely the result of the game car licenses expiring, or possibly musical license. You'd think Microsoft would be able to pay to keep those up, but I guess they've decided it's time to move on to the next Forza Motorsport. Past games in the series have suffered a similar fate. And then I'm going to read you what Turn 10 said on the statement. Now, here's the interesting thing, right? So usually, this kind of thing happens, it takes 5 years, but I guess this was on the 4-year type of cycle, because this game came out in 2017, which just kind of highlights how long it's been since they've actually come out with a game, and we don't know what's going on with the next game yet, because it was only in early production, and we saw some like CGI or whatever in engine hocus pocus last year. So we don't really know how far along they are or anything like that. But yeah, it is a little bit kind of weird that they haven't come out with the game in almost 4 years. It'll be 5 years next year, and they're pulling the one that they just did have out. Not only are they pulling it, but I think this game just went into Game Pass not too long ago. And not only that, but this game was notorious for being unfinished at launch, which means that they really kind of dropped the ball in multiple aspects of the game. In fact, the reason why there wasn't a follow-up or a Forza Motorsport 8 a couple years later was because they were so busy trying to fix this game and trying to get people their money's worth, and they kept apologizing to people and things like that. But this is what Turn 10 had to say. On September 15, 2021, Forza Motorsport 7 will reach end-of-life status. This means that the game and its DLC will no longer be available to purchase in the Microsoft Store or available with Xbox Game Pass. However, after September 15th, players who already own Forza Motorsport 7 will be able to download and play the game and its associated content as normal. In addition, features like multiplayer and online services will still be accessible for those who own the game. For any Xbox Game Pass players who previously purchased DLC for the game but not the game itself, we have good news. You will receive a token for the game through the Xbox Message Center so that you can continue playing the game. Token distribution will be through August 2nd. Unused tokens will expire on September 15th, 2023. So basically, not everybody gets a free token for the game, only if you bought some DLC, which I guess is some good news, but it just makes you think, what other kind of licenses or what other kind of situations are we going to see in the future. And I think this breaks out to like the broader problem with stuff like Game Pass, right? Like at the end of the day, you never know when games are going to go up. Like, who knows about music rights? Who knows about licenses rights? Who knows about any of that stuff? And so at any particular point, when people bring up the Game Pass as a good value, which it can be, you still have to look at this and go, well, is the game going to be there later? Because, I know how people are, because I have a habit of doing this too, where I'll download something and then not get around to it, maybe ever, but it's just one of those things where I've downloaded probably 5 games off Game Pass, and I haven't really spent a ton of time with said games, just because I have such already enormous backlog of stuff, and usually the things that I play are things that I really am amped up to play to begin with. So it's not like a situation where I'm like, oh, well, let me try something on Game Pass because I'm bored or whatever. It's like, that never happens for me. For me, what happens is there's always something newer that I want to play that just came out or whatever. And that's not to say that it can't be something like a remake. Like right now, I'm in the middle of still a Mass Effect trilogy. I love that game, that franchise. And the fun fact is, I never actually played any of the DLC in any of those games. So a lot of this game seems like very new to me, even characters and story arcs. So yeah, very, very cool stuff there. And it's like I see what happens with like Game Pass, but it's like, I'll give you a good example. I downloaded Kingdom Hearts 3. Now, I've never really played a Kingdom Hearts game before, but I downloaded that, and I hope to play it one day or whatever, I don't know, but I kind of doubt I ever get around to it, to be quite honest with you. I've kind of fiddled around with the idea of buying the complete collection, which was on sale on PlayStation for like $20 like last week or whatever, but then I was just like, I probably won't play it. Like I keep getting games that I probably won't play. So now you do start to worry about, well, the music situation and things like that. This game, like I said, didn't actually come to Game Pass that long ago. So it is a little bit shocking to see that, obviously, I would say Forza Horizon 4 next year is going to get pulled from there. And yes, there'll be Forza Horizon 5 in there to take its place or whatever, but it's still a little bit disheartening to see that. And, as far as when you're going to get some kind of heads up when something might be leaving or whatever, I just thought that was a little bit strange. But, yeah, end of life status for that. The next Forza Motorsport, who knows? Early play testing for the game has begun, but it won't be launching until maybe next year, maybe sometime late next year. I don't know, but it is a little bit disappointing, and I'm sure that a lot of people are probably feeling that same way. And again, it's just one of those situations where a lot of things kind of happen for a reason or whatever, and we keep seeing some of these negative things like pop up around Xbox Game Pass. In particular, we keep seeing things pop up around the situation with the Game Pass, where it's unexpected that this is kind of happening. So I do hope that it's not something that we have to kind of delve into for too long, but I do hope that this is something that is a is not the trend, as I guess what I'm trying to say. So I think that especially when it comes to racing games, much like sports games, I think like a lot of times they can just be updated, and you don't have to like go through all the rigmarole and stuff like that. So I don't really know, but hopefully it all gets worked out. And if you did buy some DLC or something along those lines, hopefully that there is something that is there to sit there and make up for it. You know what I mean? Because this is kind of lame, in my opinion. You have this $1 trillion company, and they're going to let their licenses expire. I don't know, that does seem a little odd to me, a little bit weird, especially when the next one, like I could understand it, like I said, because it looks like Horizon 4 will probably delist next year, but 5 will be out by then. 5 is coming out later this year. The fact of the matter is 7 is getting delisted and 8 is a year or more away. So I mean, that is a little bit odd to me, to say the least, especially since the game wasn't even close to being finished for a long time after launch anyway. So yeah, just kind of something to keep your eye on and things like that. And anyway, who knows with Microsoft, they got a lot of apologists and stuff like that, so we'll see what happens. But it is odd that you have Phil Spencer on one hand talking about game preservation, and then on the other this happens. So, you know, odd, but still at the same time, I'm not surprised in the least. Let me know what you guys think. Thanks for watching. Fact 'em up. Crap Gamer out.